Hello and welcome to Lightworks. In this video we're going to be showing you the new Boris Effects plugin bundle for Lightworks Pro users. With Lightworks version 12.5, users who purchase the outright license will now get both Boris Graffiti for vector-based titling and Boris Effects absolutely free with your Lightworks Pro license. Users purchasing yearly Pro licenses will still be able to take advantage of the deal, and in that bundle you'll get the choice of either Boris Effects or Boris Graffiti. Boris Effects and Graffiti plug into Lightworks, and we edit those effects by launching the Boris UI. To make your life easier, we've made hundreds of new user presets in the Lightworks Effects palette. You'll find the Boris Effects Transition category, the Boris Effects Filter category, and a whole heap of useful graphics and titling presets in the Boris Graffiti category. Let's check some out and start applying them to this timeline. First of all, the filters. You'll find stylizing. Here's a cartoon look. You'll find generators such as the cloud generator to put mist in the shot. Generate water reflections with a caustic generator. Simulate TV damage with damage TV preset. Lots of optical effects, film processing effects, kaleidoscopic, lens flares, specialist lens blurs, lightning generator, optical flow for time remapping, light rays. We could even drop some snow into this shot. Watercolor stylize. And this is just a fraction of what can be achieved with these effects packages. Well, let's get going and work on these shots. This first shot here, I'm going to drop some optical rays on it. I'm going to go straight for my Boris Rays Puffy preset. That can be dropped straight to the effects settings panel or directly to the clip. To edit the filter, hit the launch button and the Boris Effects user interface opens. On the left hand side, you'll find the filter setup controls. Here, you'll find the composition window, and at the bottom, you'll find the filter tracks and the composition timeline. The first thing I want to do with this shot is make it larger and reposition it so the guy is on the left hand side. If you expand the video track to resize and reposition your frame, simply click the transformations layer and the transformation controls will be revealed on the left. Now when I make these changes, I don't want any keyframes to be added, so I'm just going to be careful to make sure that my keyframe button is turned off. I'm going to zoom out using the zoom out control on the composite window, and if I go down and click on the Puffy Rays layer, not only are the controls revealed to adjust that, but I can actually turn on and off the effect by clicking on the eye icon. Let's just get those rays off, click back to transformations, and resize and reposition this frame. I want to make it much larger. I'm going to click and use this little blue target interactor. I'm going to click and drag and reposition that just how I want it, just about there, so that's good. Let's bring the rays back on. Just hit the Rays Puffy track visibility. So to change the parameters for the rays, select that track on your timeline. And I'm going to go straight up here, and there's a drop down menu here where you can select different types of rays. I'm just going to use the triangles to check out some different ones. I quite like that, but it's a bit burnt out. So we're going to reposition this ray by using these interactors on the composite window. If I click the centers of the rays and move that, we can change the light source of the ray itself. I'm just going to click, find another frame, just so I can get it just right. Zoom out once. Here's my ray source. I think I want something like that, so the beams come through using the colours of the mask here. The interactors, the ray length, you can click and drag these circles to make things more powerful. Just knock that back a bit. Intensity. Yeah, I'm happy with that. And what we're actually doing by modifying using these widgets on the screen is changing the parameters over here on the options on the left hand side. Intensity and ray length, so you can use the sliders as well and they'll achieve the same result. Once you're done with the editing, bottom right hand side, hit the apply button. And there we go, that looks great. Let's move on to the next shot. Now for this guy, I'm going to use raise again, but a slightly different one. I'm going to use raise spotlight. Drop that onto the clip, launch Boris. What I want to do is get this nice highlight burnout area in the background. The colour is going to extend into the background here. What I want to do is change the colour of the raise to something cooler and more blue to suit the mood of the picture. Selecting the filter raise radiant spotlight layer will bring up the controls. This section here, where you can see the gradient, represents the colours we're seeing in the raise. Again, I'm just going to click on the drop down menu. I'm going to go straight for blues. That gives us this nice cooler effect. Now it's a bit intense, so over to our intensity interactor, click and drag. Just going to pull that in a bit. Now if you want to preview your work, of course you can scrub the timeline. We can just hit play. And the system will do its best to give you a decent preview. Your preview qualities are here. You can go draft quality or high quality, depending on how powerful your graphics card is. You've also got a resolution, and I'm running at half resolution at draft quality. Once you go back to the top there, you can preview all of this to RAM. Go to the preview menu, hit preview to RAM. The system will scan through your timeline, and these yellow dots we're seeing are the frame calculations. Once that's done, it'll play nicely in real time, smoothly. Great, well I'm happy with that. Let's hit apply. Let's jump straight over and have a look at some of the new transition presets. Let's place a transition between these two shots. Loads and loads of great new transitions. I'm going to go for my damaged TV, something a bit grungy. Pop that straight on the boundary, and that'll give us a breakdown of the picture as we go through between the two shots. Down at the end here, I'm going to throw on a transition just to wipe everything off. I'm going to go for my Kaleido wipe. Pick that up, chuck it down on the end there. So what's going to happen now, if I step through a few frames, we're going to break down the picture into a kaleidoscope. We've got a lens flare that's going to flare out, take it all back down to black. Now before we look at some more transitions and filters, I'm just going to throw on a Boris Graffiti preset onto this shot. To the Graffiti filter presets. Inside here you'll find all sorts of new text effects, lower thirds, bullet points, container motion, zooming and tumbling and spinning text. What I want to do is put the title across the top here and then pull it off with a type off effect. The one I'm going to use, text type off. Let's just drop that on there. As we step through it, it's going to take off the outline of the title and then fade out the text through the shot. Well, now we know what to do now. Let's jump in and edit the graffiti. Launch Boris Graffiti. Very similar to the Boris Effects UI. Composition window, timeline tracks. If I click on a text layer where you can see they're named, got the outline and the fill layer, you've got the text window here and you can modify the text in here. So I want to change this text to snowboarding. And on the outline level, I want to do the same as well. Change the text to match. I want to change the typeface. So I'm just going to select my text layer. And the text controls are all down here. Make sure you click on the text and you've got your typeface here. I'm going to go for Franklin Gothic medium condensed. Change that layer, and we need to make the same adjustment to the fill layer as well. Select the text layer. Cool, that's done. Now on the fill layer, I'm just going to make that a little bit of a darker blue. I select that, click on the color tab, choose the color, hit darker blue, press OK. I want to reposition this text up at the top and keep it centered. Selecting my transformation layer, I can just go to the Y position, pop that up the top there, and that's great. Press apply, back to Lightworks. That's all done. Let's have a look at working with some transitions. I've got a few shots down here, some nice colourful shots. We're going to put a transition between each of them. Over to our transition section. Let's have a look at a lens blur with a glow in it. First of all, I'm going to drop this on there. So if I go to the centre, the transition, we get this lovely glow and blur crossfade. Let's set it up. Hit launch and have a look what's inside. Okay, so crossfade has keyframes in it. Now in the middle, if I click this keyframe on my track here, you'll see there's some keyframes scattered across this track here. The central point is how I want things to be in the middle. Let's have a look at the interactors. I think the glow amount can come down slightly, and the glow threshold can just go up a touch, and the glow radius, I think I'll bring that down a touch, just so it's not so intense in the middle. Well, I'm happy with that. Let's hit apply. Let's have a look at another transition. I'm going to go with a prism dissolve. We'll break down the colours as if we were going through an optical prism. Drop that on there. Let's have a look at the centre of that. You get this lovely zoom and optical prism effect through the shot. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's have a look at another one. Next, let's go for a radial wipe with a lens flare in the middle. Throw that on. We go through the wipe. The lens flare comes in. And the next shot's revealed with a lovely soft edge. Next, I'm going to go for a swish pan and wipe the frames. The swish pans, you see the blur, and we're going on the swish pan down here. So as we go through, we get the vertical blur, and that's great. And finally, let's have a look at something else. I'm going to go for this one, the heat wipe. And the heat wipe opens up the hot bar through the middle, and opens up that to reveal it on the next shot. Great. On this shot here, I want to add a blur and a defocus. I want to add some bullet points across the top of it. Straight back to our filters. I'm going to go for my lens blur, throw that on. Back to the graffiti presets. We've got some bullet points as well. We go for bullet point number 2. Chuck that on the effects panel. Now these bullet points will come in, and each line will shoot in with a motion blur as well. This next shot here, we're going to have a look at how to work with alpha channels. If I turn off V1, I put a black slug down on here. What I'm going to do is make a metal surface using my metal generator in the filters section. Steel generator, throw that on. Get this nice kind of riveted steel. On top of that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this boat shot into liquid mercury. I'm going to do that. I'm going to apply Mr. Mercury onto the boat shot. If I set this up and have a look inside of that mercury shot, this checkerboard area here should be transparent. That's the alpha channel. I want to see the metal below that. I'm going to change my mercury to this one, so to get this kind of blob liquid metal with the boat shot inside it. So we dealt with that, hit apply. The final thing we need to do is just go to our regular Lightworks filters, go to mixes, and just throw a blend effect on top of that. Now the alpha channel's cut. And finally, there's a few lower thirds we've added as well. Back to my graffiti, I'm going to go at all these lower thirds here. Let's have a look at a few of those. And they can all be modified as we've seen before. I'm going to go with lower third, number 6. Once all the effects are applied, you'll need to render them. I'm going to mark and park the entire sequence range. Open the advanced panel, press the render button. I'm going to choose the mark section render, select the compression details and hit start. Of course, rendering is a background task, so you're free to carry on with other work while you're waiting. That's completed. There's our rendered segment. Let's give it a run through and check the results. There's our raise and zoom, damage TV crossfade with the text off, and the ray glow, kaleidoscope wipe, glow and blur dissolve, prism fade, circle wipe with a lens flare, swish pan down, heat wipe. There's our blurred street scene with the bullet points. the metal surface with a mercury overlay and alpha channel, and the lower third. We really hope you enjoy the benefits of the fantastic new Boris plugin suite for Pro users. Another great reason to upgrade to Pro. Pro licenses are available in the Lightworks shop, lwks.com/shop. Thanks for watching.